Okay, central midfielders, possibly, I don't know, the most important position on the pitch. I actually think it is an area, despite everybody who played in there last year doing really well. Maybe because we had too many players competing for those positions, but we never quite dominated, with the exception of perhaps one game. We never quite dominated that area of the pitch in terms of physicality, in terms of control of the ball, in terms of linking up play. Um, the central midfielder's job is a tough one because you're playing both roles really. You're attacking and you're defending all of the time. One of the reasons we've gone to this formation is to make that job a little bit more straightforward and to reduce the need for the central midfielder to constantly have to come and do this role. And of course, we now have 11 players. Okay, so what is your job as central midfielder? Um, let's have a look in defence first of all. Well, your central midfield responsibilities is to make sure that whatever the opposition have, ignore the codes on there, that's just another red player, is to dominate their central midfielder physically first. Okay, you have to make sure that every opportunity for a tackle, every opportunity for a header, every opportunity to put pressure on the opposition when they're on the ball is met. As soon as a central midfielder gives another central midfielder space, then that's when that central midfielder starts to look like a good player, when he's got time to pick passes. So a very simple rule of thumb here in terms of communication with your teammates, okay, you might need to help in order for this to happen, is that across this middle area of the pitch, certainly between the line that might be here, on the edge of the centre circle and the edge of this centre circle, is that whenever players receive the ball in this middle third of the pitch, that they should have less than 1 second until one of our players is putting them under pressure. Now, sometimes that means communicating to teammates to put them under pressure, but most of the time this is about preparation, getting ready for when this player might receive the ball. All right, so a good example might be a centre-back having the ball for Reds, and this player looking for the receipt of a pass. And when he moves into position, if he's allowed to receive and turn, you're now under pressure as a central midfielder. So a central midfielder has got to be constantly ready for 10 and 15 metre sprints in this area, so that when he's looking for that ball, you're closing him down. And of course, if you can intercept this pass and make that tackle and win the ball for the opposition, winning the ball in these areas is just so important. Sometimes central midfielders play a little bit too cautiously, so they hold off and they almost become another centre back. And there are times, perhaps if we went to our tight formation, where we do need to drop off and help out and bring other players into this. But most of the time, there's acres of space in that midfield just waiting for you to be confident, go and exploit that space at the same time as closing it down. Now, one of the jobs, I guess, as a central midfielder is to work closely with your teammates. And to do that, you have to communicate. I've never known a silent central midfielder who has a positive impact on the team. You've constantly got to be chatting to teammates to push them up to support you, so that you can make sure that that big central area of the pitch has bodies in it when we're defending and has space in it when we're attacking. Okay, so first job as a central midfielder is one of a defensive player working as part of the team. Now, the second job, of course, is to constantly be available for the ball. A central midfielder should always be thinking in triangles. So wherever the ball is, he should be thinking of being a point of that triangle. So if we use this central midfielder here, if we use this central midfielder here, there's always a forward player and there's always another central midfielder looking to get hold of the ball. And we might find a situation like this occurs. Well, that's okay because the central midfielder can do a couple of things here. He might not be able to make this triangle work because of this forward doing well and putting players under pressure, and of course this central midfielder. But what he can do in this situation is to make that little 5-10 yard run and create the triangle here, and then return to his position or even just rotate with his teammate. Wherever he receives the ball, if he was to receive it here, he will be a member of a number of triangles on the pitch. He's a member of this triangle. He's also a member of this triangle. He's just about a member of this triangle, even though it's a bit flat. And he's also, if he can get control of the ball quickly, turn and get his head up, is a member of this triangle. He's also a member of this triangle, and these are the ones that he wants to play in whenever he can. So last year, too many times, our central midfielders ended up in these positions. They played the ball forwards, but then it would be left to the forwards because of fitness and because of decision making. So instead of that long ball forward here, a better option would perhaps be into this player and then to run and support the play to be part of that new triangle. And of course that brings other players in. It also makes your central midfield opponent have to chase and try and put you under pressure. So these two central midfielders will be working as pairs, but whenever the ball goes forward, we'll be looking for the other central midfielder to link up the play. What does a central midfielder need? Good endurance. What else does a central midfielder need? A real desire to control the game. I don't just mean have an impact, but essentially run the game from the middle, from the heart of the pitch. What else does a central midfielder need? Well, they need a quality first touch to be able to kill the ball in the tightest positions on the pitch, and they need to have that awareness and passing ability to bring players into the game and the common sense to sometimes turn round and slow down the play and build again. Okay, that's what I want from our central midfielders. Now, of course, the icing on the cake for a central midfielder is to, when we do go forward, is to actually cause the opposition real problems by overloading the play and actually going beyond the forward player, the central forward player, and at times beyond the striker. And these runs from central midfield are almost impossible to stop. And even if you don't stop them and another central midfielder comes with you, it just moves the game so far down the pitch that we end up dominating in the attacking third. So central midfield is a key area for the development of the team this year, and I'll be interested across the players who can potentially play in there, who's going to make that their role. We shall see.